Well, Mr. Bolaji Ogunseye joins us next. He's a development economist. Thank you for coming on this morning.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
This is a document upon which most of these policies will be implemented. And here we are now. We don't even know what is which. They say they've got two versions. There's a fake one, there's a doctored one. What do you think is going on?
Well, whatever it is, to be honest, I think the governance leadership of Nigeria should operate at a slightly more serious level. We are in very tough times. The people have great expectations. The government promises great expectations, and the leadership from both parties, all the people at the National Assembly and, across to the presidency, they should, because this is a trite, if you like, process, document, matter, for God's sake. Let's just find out, where is the budget document that the president has presented, and it can't get lost. I don't think it should get lost. So I'm just as lost as you are. But I think this is beneath the leadership at this point. You see, there's such a thing as a sense of urgency, right? And I think if ever there was a time when we were in that kind of situation where a sense of urgency should operate, is now.
But this is only until we got to know that, there were issues with someone supplying, a budget that was different from what the president submitted. Because what we heard initially was that the budget was missing. Now, that would be very serious if the budget that was presented by the president to the National Assembly was missing. So perhaps if we're coming from there, I mean, we're missing budget. What were your initial thoughts on that?
If indeed the budget is missing,
yes.
Whether or not, if I was in the presidency, whether or not we even have, if these people say, the budget is missing,
yes,
let's send them another version of the same thing, so they can get on with it. I'm just concerned with when we're going to start getting on with the business. If we're going to spend an eternity discussing whether the budget is missing, whether, I think that's number one. Number two, I think it's only tidy and proper, really, to expect that the budget that will be treated, that will be addressed by the National Assembly, will be the budget that has been presented by the president, as presented by the president.
The reason I ask you this is because, if it was missing, some people would say that does raise cause for serious concerns within the Senate, and even the motive of the person who would want to steal the budget.
I just don't want to talk about the politics deliberately, because then we can problematize this, and it can just run on its own for much longer than this country needs now. Somebody somewhere should fish out the real budget and let the National Assembly get on with it. And like I've said, to be honest, the presidency can make this simple. The National Assembly can come back again and tell us it's missing. Just get the original version. You would assume that whatever it is that the president has presented would have come from some soft copies and other versions. The president doesn't give it there, and there's nothing in their own archives. Just get another copy and send it to them of the real thing Coke. Let's get on with it.
Because there's always a copy somewhere from the original.
Oh, yes.
But if you look at this, because some Nigerians would want to go on your own side and say, let's move on and see how the business of looking into this budget can continue. Otherwise, we'll be stuck and talking about the politics of who's taking it and who's not taking it, where exactly it is, who's been able to superimpose something in any other version. But the last time we talked about this budget, we were expectant, hoping that by now the National Assembly should have done something about this budget. But they're trying to send copies to everyone, and even the House of Representatives, so that they can start looking at it. For some development economists like yourself, and even economists and Nigerians, they still think that this budget is unrealistic.
Yeah, I know there are those views, especially from in the economic analysis community. There are those who think it's over-optimistic. I thought so at the beginning concerning the pegging at $38. That was a bit strange because as at that time, we were already in the $40, $41, $39 territory. So I thought the 38 was rather strange because even from the basic level of, just what they say about, under promising and over delivering. You know what I mean? I would have put it at 30. Okay? And then if you get anything, well, you're there now. I'm praying not to be lower. For instance,
we're 27.
It's always been my view that the government, should, way back June, July, should have done about a 3-price or even a 4-price scenario. You understand? What if this got to, well, at that time, it was about 40. Okay, now we're at 40. Okay, we want to budget at 40. If it is, and we know what we are budgeting at 40 assumption or 38, what if it gets down to 30? What is the new scenario? How would the economy be run? How would the fiscal, dynamics play out? Where are we going to get the money? Where are we going to make the savings and things? If it gets to, God forbid, $20, what are we going to do? This is just scenario planning, okay? So that if the worst happens, you do have some coping mechanism. Do you understand? Some recovery mechanisms that you've put in place. I like to think the government has something like that. I mean, look, we're not inside, so we don't know, but I think that is almost fairly basic, so obvious that they should have this, 3-price scenario or even 4-price scenario. I'm praying that you don't get to the worst sort of.
I mean, because
scenario.
many think that we're in dire straits already, looking at some of the monetary policies, and then many also waiting to see what kind of shape would the fiscal policy take, because the CPN can only do as much. If they don't have the backing of the fiscal policy, we may just be going back and forth on some of those policies.
See, where we are today, it's just a pity that one of the ways I always describe what we face in this country, especially in terms of economic governance, but across the board, political governance, everything, is that we have developed a capacity to lie to ourselves as a nation. We've done this for a long time, before this civil war, but especially after the civil war, as every government tries to justify itself and its actions and things. We have developed a set of rather, structural lies into the life of the nation. So, I mean, it's like somebody's going to New York. Everybody knows the way to New York. And you can see that person headed there, and he keeps saying, I'm going to Texas. You understand? That is a metaphor, you know what I mean, for what we have in Nigeria. And because we have this, when we have a crisis such as we have now, we are not able to reach deep into all those structural toxins that are in the system, because we never admitted they were there. We always describe something else. Do you understand?
Why?
Well, because those who rule at any time will want to rationalize why they are doing well. And look, every leader, every government in Nigeria since after the Civil War claims that it's done right by Nigeria. Nobody has done anything wrong. The government has got it right. But if you look at the cumulative effect, you just keep going down, down, down. So somebody is deceiving somebody somewhere. Okay? For instance, look, what you need to do now, because we are in very serious problem. Okay? Look at what's happening to the currency. So I think the first thing the government should be thinking of now, and I always like that to think that they're already thinking of it, because to think that you're sitting here, nobody else in that government is thinking of it, it's hard. But again, we've got to share this with fellow Nigerians. But I would love them to do a number of things. 3 levels to react to what's going on. One is what I call the immediate, because you've got to leave the bread and butter governance issues. You've got to collect revenue more seriously, more honestly, and watch how you collect the revenue, how much you collect. Do you understand? And how do you account for it and everything? That's the immediate thing, because we really do need some money to keep running the machine. That's called Nigeria. Do you understand? So that's the first one. Second one, you need to look more at those traditional areas where there is tax impunity, where people just get in with murder, maritime, cabotage, I mean, there's serious leakages to the treasury going on.
Can
in
that
this place.
happen on a short term, or is it long-term plan?
No, that's
that
not
needs to
long term
start?
at all. It's short term to medium term.
All right.
Well, these are things that you can, you know, because remember, these are processes going on under MDAs, okay? You can go in there with a big stick or any kind of stick and just ensure, most of these things are a matter of doing the right thing according to existing law. Like TSA, you know, it's so strange. Nigerians talk about the TSA. We shouldn't be discussing the TSA at all. Why? It's been on the statute books forever. It's just that nobody has been doing it. So somebody comes down and says, okay, apply what is in the law. It becomes a subject in town. Do you understand? So it's the same thing. If you go into the maritime industry, look at cabotage, look at, you know, a lot of things that's going. Even look, those who do this evasion are more the big ticket evasions. You're talking where the country is losing, you know, 1 billion, 500 million in taxes from a single source. These are the big, you know, top-end economic actors. You understand? You find them in the communications industry, in the oil and gas, in maritime, and on and on and on. It's good to go after the woman selling on the road and drive them for the 500 they should pay and all these things. But, you know, it's at the commanding heights of the economy that you need to look for more money. That's one. The second one, you've got to look at third one. The first one is collect more money. Second one, go after, you know, the special areas where they dodge this thing. The third one is the subsidy. Okay? Now, the subsidy is interesting. Again, we tell lies. We pretend, for instance, that you can't find out what is the landing cost of refined fuel. You see, because it's funny, it's a simple calculation to take us to how much should it cost at the pump station. Do you understand? How much does the oil land? I mean, the product, the refined product, how much does it land in our waters, okay? How much do the major marketers buy from those who have imported? Because sometimes it's also overlapping. The major marketers are also importers. It's all over the place. Now, how much do they buy? How much do the independent marketers buy from the major marketers? How much do the marketers buy from the independent marketers? And then how much does it get to the pump? Do you understand? And of course, the almighty depot.